Welcome to Chromatic Roses, a podcast where a couple of Midwest women cultivate a community at the D&D table. I'm Soren.
And I'm Caitie. This week in the Rose Garden, we are talking about a shameless, blameless self-plug, in that we're going to tell you about some resources that we've made to help you be better at D&D. And they're resources that specifically help character creation and role-playing. Maybe someday we'll make like a combat cheat sheet or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But today is not that day.
Today is not. I almost got derailed just now.
I know you did. I saw it. And I went, no. As we're talking through our resources today to that point, if there's something you're like, it would be really cool if someone could make me one of these, tell us about it in the comments, and then maybe we'll figure out about how to make it for you.
Because we would love to. Some of like the most fun, I think, outside of in general working on a cool project with one of my best friends, is like making resources that like either I wish I had when I first started D&D, or that I just want other people to have so they can feel confident playing D&D. And that creation process is really fun, like to work on with you. So
your girl loves a worksheet. I love it. I love worksheets, man. I love worksheets. I have to do systems. I have to read a book for work, like assigned reading for work. And it came with like hey, we've got this like online fillable resource that you can do. She was like, and I went,
print it.
Sign me up. Yeah. And I do it in tandem with reading the book. So
that's great.
Your girl loves a worksheet.
I also love worksheets. I love structure. I love being able to harness chaos, because often this is chaos.
I do love structure. I do love it.
Okay, now I'm gonna have to be like
The first one we're talking about today is the first one we made ever. And if I look at this copyright, 2022.
2022. Yeah, because we're about to turn 2.
Yeah. So this was like
within our first year.
Yeah, this was like December. I feel like we made this 2022.
Yeah, because we have videos we took around like like Christmas trees in the background.
Yeah. So this is Rose's role-playing reference guide. Rose's role-playing reference guide. And this is to help you role-play in your games easier. If role-playing is something that seems daunting to you, we recommend filling this out as a way to like flesh out some of the like nuances of your character, and then like keep it with your character sheet when you go to play, and you can just reference it every once in a while when you're making decisions and stuff like that. You can look at these things to help influence decisions or help influence conversations or, whatever. So the first thing we're going to do with this is give you a tour of it. And then I filled out one back in 2022 when she was still alive for Primrose Bristle Thistle. So we'll go through this is like one of those like news shows where they're like showing you how to make something and they put it all in the bowl and they're like, okay, and now I'm going to take it out of the oven and it's ready. You know what I mean?
I have a filled out one for you. Actually, that could be kind of cool for examples later down the line, is like making a couple of like stock characters and like putting filled out reference guides, even just for like practice fun. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pull up.
Okay, so
take it away, Ernie.
Here I go through the tour of Rose's role-playing reference guide. So yeah, I already kind of mentioned this, but this is a way for you to like put some thoughts together about motivations and stuff like that for your character, so that there's like a quick reference when you're in the middle of improvisation to be able to like recall some of these pieces. So we put them into steps in the thought that this kind of builds upon itself. So ideally, you're doing this step by step. And if not, then you're a chaos goblin, and best of luck to you. So this first one is pretty simple. On your character sheet, there is a section when you're building a character where you go through your traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws. And I'm going to show you what I've got for Prim in a minute, but I just wanted to, if it'll cooperate, pull up my D&D Beyond to show you in the maybe worst way possible where I would
old people way and flip it with your iPad. Do it.
So this is D&D Beyond. I'm in the background section. And so, oh boy. We've got, trying to figure everything's backwards, you guys. Okay. So it gives you a lot of information about like what she looks like. This is for Kishara. So this was Grant's campaign that I did ages ago. But down here, we've got personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws. And this is a part of the character building process. So you pick this while you're building your character. And some people might choose not to, and that's your business. But I have found that these help give like a starting point for character building. And sometimes it like puts you in a box kind of on purpose because you have to have some box to be able to make decisions off of. You know what I'm saying? Like we need some foundation to be able to like make more choices. And I'm sure there's like a million ways to start doing that. This is just how I've done it in the past. So we'll go through examples of this with Prim in a minute. But we start by going to our character sheet and finding those 4 things and then putting them on the reference guide as like a base point. Step 2, think big. What's the one thing I'm motivated by and most scared of?
I should have just stayed at 2. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. So this is kind of like, I think when we were making this, we thought of the Enneagram.
Yep.
And so it's just like your biggest motivator, your biggest thing you're scared of. And when I say you, I do mean your character, not you yourself. You could put that for you if you're really struggling, but this is mostly for your character. Okay. So, and the idea here is that we pick like maybe 3, maybe 4 things here. If you're like really pinpointed and you know there's kind of like a root one motivator, one thing you're most afraid of, then that I think can be even better as far as like clarity goes.
I am motivated by money, nothing more.
Right. Right. Or like I am motivated by desire for generosity. And I am afraid of abandonment. You know, like that. That's just like very clear cut. Like you are making decisions that get you more towards that desire for generosity, and you're making decisions against being abandoned.
Right.
And that just makes it very clear cut. I can tell you right now for Prim, I did like 3 motivators and 2 fears. So like not a ton, but there were a couple different threads I wanted to note in that section.
I did too. For when I filled it out, I think I did like 3 and 3-ish.
Yeah. So that one's it's on purpose, big, right? Like that's the first thing we say there. Think big. So this is not like I'm scared of spiders and I'm motivated by lunch, you know, like it's like it's unless there's a more it's more philosophical than that. I am motivated by these big ideas. I'm afraid of deepest, darkest, most core fear for this character.
And you mentioned it at the beginning, but if if anyone listening or watching hasn't heard of the Enneagram quiz before, it's just another one of those personality type quizzes, but we really like the kind of the function of that quiz, which is literally motivated by and your greatest fear.
Right.
So we just wanted to drop it in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Keep going.
Going.
Step 3. How would I react in an argument? This, in retrospect, feels kind of oddly specific.
Yeah. A little bit.
But I think the impetus for this was conflict.
Yeah.
Like, how does my character interact in conflict? And not combat, which is why we specified argument. Like, this is not, are you the person who rushes in, or are you the person that tries to convince the party to flee? Yeah. It's inner party conflict. How does your character respond to that? Are they somebody who tries to people please and make everyone like them? Are they somebody who is firm in their convictions and will piss someone off because they don't agree with you, you know,
yeah,
like that kind
too.
of a thing? Or are you chaotic and you're trying to start shit because it's fun, you know, like that kind of a thing? This kind of, I think, falls into our character archetypes that we just talked about.
Yeah, I would agree. I think you could utilize that. Maybe that will become another
archetypes, I guess.
It won't necessarily be a worksheet, I guess. I guess we could turn a quiz into a worksheet. Anyway, yeah,
like one of those cosmopolitan ones where you have to circle in however many you get in each column. It tells you a certain thing.
Yeah.
Good.
Anywho.
Yeah. So in this one, and we've got a box here that kind of indicates it, but it's kind of a long form answer in that, like, I wrote kind of a paragraph, not like a long paragraph, but just like a few sentences about how Prim, how she would react in a argument. And it's not so specific as how would Prim interact with Laura in an argument. This is like kind of no matter the topic, argument in general, how does your character handle that kind of interpersonal conflict?
Yeah.
Continuing on.
Step 4.
Let's talk about emotions. I feel happy when...
This is just becoming D&D character therapy.
Yeah. And so we've got 4 emotions here: happy, surprised, angry, and sad. And I kind of wrote bullet points for Prim here. I feel happy when bullet point. I feel happy when bullet point. I feel happy when, you know, whatever. Some of these I was able to pull more stuff for. So like happy was really easy to fill out. Surprised was kind of hard to fill out. Angry was a little harder and like more specific maybe. So it's just a way to get you into your character's mind and make you think about what they look like and what they're doing and where they are when they're feeling these types of things. Yeah. And then also, and we don't really indicate this on this step, but it's like, what does that look like? Like if Prim's happy, what do we notice something different about her when she's happy? When she's angry, does she isolate, or is she, you know, kind of in your face? Everybody knows she's angry. Even with this, I don't think I indicated her demeanor on when I was filling out this worksheet. I just indicated like scenarios that would bring her happiness or whatever.
I think that's what I did too.
Yeah, but it would be an interesting like thought exercise to also note if their demeanor changes and how that emotion looks on them. How do other party members know that they're feeling some type of way? Because I mean, and this is maybe just true of our party and less true of other parties, but like we don't have a ton of like campfire time.
Yeah. It's not like okay, you gotta rest, let's make camp, because especially right now in our campaign, making camp could be a risk of like being detected.
Right. Right.
current point in time.
There's a little bit more going on. So I would like to have more information about like how that's applied as far as our party goes, but we don't have a lot of this. So here's where I was going. I found my point. Sorry, it took me a second.
You're good.
If you Because we don't have a lot of campfire time,
Mm-hmm.
I don't always know how everybody's doing, right?
Yeah.
Because we're not actually our characters. And
Right.
so when we're watching other people's scenes or even just like listening to exposition, like we're not necessarily in our characters' shoes at that point.
Right.
So it's not always easy to know, like, is Reese feeling some type of way? Because TJ looks
Mm-hmm.
fine. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
as so this is also just like if you have a place to say, like, okay, I can let my party know that Prim is angry by narrating that she looks like this
Yeah.
or she's acting like that.
Yeah.
We're sitting at a campfire and her back is turned, or
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
And I think Sam does a good job. And I think this is a tip for anyone, or just like not necessarily like you have to do this, but just a thought for other DMs as well, is ask your characters to either describe what they're thinking or describe their reaction to something.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that'd be another great place to slot in some of these answers that we're looking at now too.
Sam does a couple things, and I think he did this last session actually. I think he asked Emily. He was like, "How is Kiri feeling right now?"
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And like, and that's one of those things. Like, as far as what your character knows versus what you, the player, know, we're not
Right.
all sitting in Kiri's room. So, like, Tiffany doesn't know that Kiri's feeling some type of way, but
Mm-hmm.
now us as players. Us as audience members who care about these characters in totality are like, oh, Kiri's resolved to violence. Uh-oh.
Oh.
The cute little sweet wilderness druid gal is about to
Crack some skulls.
pop someone's brains out. Like, whoa. That she's got inner turmoil. But that also then, if you're listening while that kind of stuff is happening, I don't think it made sense for like Tiffany to do this, but it might make sense then for Laura to be like, to also ask, in like a role-playing scenario of like, now Soren knows that Kiri's ready to shoot to kill.
Okay.
I'm looking for more of those, and I keep coming up on stuff that's maybe inappropriate. So shoot to kill. And so because Soren knows that might prompt Soren to say like, okay, I want Laura and Kiri to have a moment. That reminds me of the one time that Prim came out and sat on the roof with Laura.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I think you narrated that you had stormed off. That Laura had stormed off, but I think you had also given some flavor as far as like, she's feeling this and you see this and she storms off, like that kind of a thing. And so that indicated to me like, okay, I'm the like 300-year-old maternal figure in this scenario. I need to go talk to her, like that kind of a thing.
And that remains one of my probably favorite campaign moments, like to this day.
Yeah.
But I think you as Prim, I think you reacted really well to that, and I think it ended up making like a really beautiful interaction between two characters.
And I think that can happen for a lot of people so long as you're listening for those types of moments, and knowing your character's role in that scenario. So like, if it were Tiffany in that moment, that would have felt very different than Prim. And so like, knowing who you are in that is,
I mean, we're going through this, but we'll like reiterate that what one character might do, the other might not, even though the same person may be playing them.
Right.
Got her.
Because I'm trying to think, like, in role playing, I haven't felt like I found like a stride with Tisiphone as far as role playing goes yet.
Sure.
They're still like in game time, incredibly new to this party.
Unease. Yeah.
Yeah. So like she has not found her stride yet, but I could foresee her role being like, I'm struggling to find words, like the role of the person who's like, yeah, no, shit sucks. You know what I mean?
Like, we're not going to sit around and cry about it. Like, you can do that
so
later.
let's like get up off our ass and like go do something about it.
Get off your ass and work. It seems like nobody wants to work anymore these days.
Or even like has experience with infernal stuff and like knowing what that's about.
I was thinking about that, and I was like, hey, you think this life or like this world is rough? Okay. Like,
I've got a cool place for you to see.
Try come into my house. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like these like weathered individuals. I mean, Reese also, of just like, we've seen shit in our very small lifetime in comparison to others of us.
The world. Yeah.
And we are outsiders, so we don't have the like personal bias of having gone through shit with this group, so we can be a little bit more
get over it.
Yeah, just or just like objective, you know what I mean? Like we're just more like
hi, I don't have any like emotional ties to y'all.
Right.
Thank you for letting me join this group.
Right.
But this is what it looks like, and you need to kind of cut your emotions out of this.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, so that's the step 4. We've got one last one.
We do.
How would I react when meeting someone new? So again, this is a little bit of like, in retrospect, feels very specific. But it's just like anytime you meet an NPC, really, anytime somebody new comes into the game of any kind, how do you interact with them? Are you immediately guarded? Are you excited to meet somebody new? Are you curious? Are you shy? What is that character's reaction to a new individual? And there's like, that's another.
Yeah, you're good. I had a thought right as you were like saying that all out loud, but I was like, this can also apply if a like, or this can really apply more so when maybe there's a traumatic event in the story and your character goes through like a bigger transformation. So like this answer could change for you, where it's like normally when I was first playing this character, Laura, like when she would meet new people, she was not as reserved. She was a little more okay with like meeting new people, but she kept to herself for the most part. But she met a character who like opened her to other people. And then when he passed away, she kind of like closed back up again. So like you can really tell a story with how you meet people as well.
Sure. Right.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm having thoughts. Anyway, so then we kind of give you a closing thought of just like, this is what this is about, and good job, you did it.
And you're
we
great.
Also reference Ginny D's YouTube channel because she's got some really good videos about that kind of stuff. So here's Prim's Rose's role plan reference guide. Okay. So her personality trait was nothing can shake my optimistic attitude. Prim was like kind of no funny business, but she like was a generally optimistic person. She thought everything was going to work out. We're going to keep on keeping on, and stuff's going to work out. And so like, even though she wasn't like silly, goofy time, she still had this like positive outlook. Her ideals: faith. I trust that my deity will guide my actions. I have faith that if I work hard, things will go well. That, I mean, makes sense. She was a cleric. So of course her ideal had to do with faith.
Right.
Bond, I will do anything to protect the temple where I served. And this kind of translated as I played this character into protective of Kiri also. Kiri kind of became a part of that.
Part of that, yeah.
Flaw, once I pick a goal, I become obsessed with it to the detriment of everything else in my life. So Prim, going into this campaign, her whole thing was finding Mistra, her like best friend, who after the Divine War just kind of like disappeared with no explanation.
Mm-hmm.
And she spent a long time looking for her to no explanation. Like nothing made sense. And it wasn't until she got back up with Kiri and Mistra's family, because Kiri is Mistra's granddaughter. There was kind of nothing else for her to do. She had kind of given up a little bit. So those are her 4 things that I kind of built things off of. Her motivators were being good and at peace. She was kind of like a neutral good a little bit. Lawful kind of makes sense, but nature being not following rules, a little bit more neutral. So being good as far as tending to nature goes. And then at peace was kind of this like end of life vibe of just like, I want everybody to just shut the hell up. Just shut the hell up and let me
chill here with my leaves, all right?
I am motivated by leaving the world better than I found it. That was very much a vibe of hers. And then understanding what happened to Mistra was huge. She needed to, I think that was part of her whole thing as far as like end of life goes, was like she was going to be fine as long as she knew where Mistra was, because it didn't make sense that she just up and disappeared. So once she had that knowledge, then she could kind of like, all right.
I did what I needed to.
I did my job.
Yeah.
She is afraid of being without significance. And then I wrote in parentheses, the Divine War amounting to nothing. So in our world, the Divine War was this like whole thing. Think like Critical Role Calamity vibes. And Prim was amongst 12 who were poised as these like heroes. And Mistra was in the 6, and Prim was in the lesser 6, which was just kind of like we're the second string to the cool guys.
But we're still like the ones that are doing the stuff in the war.
Right. And her fear was that she saw all the destruction and tended to like think World War II like medic tents, tended to those kinds of healer encampments, and saw all of that and was worried that it kind of meant nothing and that it was all going to fall apart anyway, you know? How would I interact or react in an argument? So here's what I wrote. I said, as long as she feels confident in her stance, Prim doesn't shy away from standing up for her views. 300 years has taught her a lot. Like, don't go down without a fight, especially when it comes to protecting the people she loves. So we've referenced before, I will reference again. There was a specific moment in this campaign where Prim did, in fact, get into an inter-party conflict with Grant's character. And it was kind of philosophical. It was a philosophical argument, or I guess not philosophical, moral. It was about,
a moral, yeah,
a moral argument about whether it was right for us to try to make a deal, and use this devil's knowledge for the furthering of our goal.
Right.
And Prim was on the side of like, no, because he's devil and he's not telling you the truth. And Oren came from a very different, like, we don't know anything for sure, so we should like exhaust all of our options before like closing doors.
Right.
And Prim felt very confident. Nice. Very confident in her stance.
I forgot.
Yeah. Very confident in her stance that this is a door that does not need to be opened. We don't
Right.
need this kind of assistance to further our goal. And this is her like pride getting in her way a little bit, but I'm 300 GD years old and you're going to have a moral argument with me about whether the gods are like good enough for you. And so she like, it was kind of, we came to an impasse. Like there was no resolution. She just was like, I'm finished with this conversation. This is not worth talking about. Let me know when you come to your senses, kind of a thing.
Right.
And walked off. So you know, if that argument was about something that Prim didn't feel confident in, I don't think she would have been so hot-headed about it. It would have just been like all right, well, this doesn't feel right to me, but let's see where it goes. But because she was 300 years old and had fought in a actual divine war, and was the cleric of a god, she was like, this is not worth having a conversation about. So see ya. Step 4. I feel happy when tending to my garden, welcoming new folks to the temple, meditating at sunrise with tea or coffee, visiting Booker's tree in Coronum, and seeing Kiri play with Nuna. So they were like very simple. Like think stuff your grandma likes, you know? She likes having company over. She likes making sure her carrots are growing.
She likes her grandkid.
She likes her grandkid. And yeah, just like all very peaceful things and small things. They're not big things, small things that bring her joy. I feel surprised when Kiri shows off a new skill and Fauna participates in world affairs. Those high elf fucks.
Well, yeah. Give like the tiniest bit of context for that.
Fauna is like a floating city of high elves who are scholarly and think they're better than everybody else. And so they just like didn't participate in politics because they were like better than the politics, you know?
Right.
So Prim being somebody who was like tangentially involved in world affairs by being a lesser 6, it pissed her off that these well-to-do high elves thought that they were too good to participate. There's like some more nuance in there. I'm being very kind of reductive, but you get it. And I wrote at the bottom, there are a few things that truly surprise me anymore. Like you really gotta pull something out of a hat.
I think I remember you saying that, like not in a session, but I feel like when I think you might have been telling me about filling this out, and you were like, honestly, I'm so old.
300 years old. You gotta really pull it out to shock me. But I think that's an interesting juxtaposition that like few things surprise me, but when Kiri pulls off a high level druid spell, that'll get me, you know, that kind of a thing. I feel angry when someone shows disrespect to those who fought in the Divine War. She's got a little bit of like, I'm a veteran and you should talk to me as such. When people assume without full knowledge, which is kind of vague, but that's a little bit of like respect your elders vibe. You know?
Yeah, uninformed arrogance bothers her.
Right. Sad. I feel sad when I feel sad on the Remembrance Day. So there in World is a Remembrance Day for the like end of the Divine War. And that's when she lost her best friend that day. So inexplicably also, like Mistra didn't die. She just blipped out of existence. And so that made her sad. Seeing Mistra and Kiri would make her feel sad. Another lesser 6 passes. She was getting old enough that her fellow vets were starting to die off. Not even from the war, but just because they were old.
Because old.
Yeah. And so that made her sad. And then I just wrote that people leave. People leaving made her sad because she got really angry when Valen went to Arborea to see his parents without saying anything. Just like Laura was angry, Prim was also sad angry. And like, God damn it, I just found another person aside from Kiri that was like on my fucking vibe.
And he made good coffee.
God damn it.
God damn it.
Which also like made that moment on the roof like possible because Prim related. She knew and understood. And but had enough life experience to be like, there are other people here who need our well-being, and so we gotta pull our shit together for them. Step 5. How would I react when meeting someone new? I wrote, always with open arms unless given a reason not to. So like in that first meeting, unless she's either heard something about you that makes her go, I don't like you, or you lead with something that's like aggressive, I mean, she's going to be kind to you. If at the temple, she provides tea and a meal, offers healing in all forms with everything that she has. So not just like you have an open wound, let me fix that. But like, you're here for a reason, let's figure that out. And that was very much her vibe. So if I were still playing this character, would keep this with me. And as I'm listening to stuff and hearing people's conversations and exposition and whatever, I might just be like scanning this and looking at things. And maybe, I wrote, she's sad when people leave. Well, Valen just left. Is she sad about that? You know, like I might check in and say like, is he close enough to Prim to make her feel sad?
Yeah.
And then, okay, yes. But I have the filter of being 300 years old. So whereas Laura threw a cup and was explosive and angry, did I throw the cup or did you throw the cup?
I threw a teapot.
Teapot, okay. And then I think I narrated, whereas you had an explosive reaction, Prim had like a Denzel Washington tear. And like...
a somber tear.
Yeah, and then freaking pulled up her stockings and said, okay, well, I gotta go fix that. So, and went and talked to Laura instead of being solid in that moment, you know.
So she might have thrown a cup. I was remembering a different moment, but
see, I don't remember. Maybe I did throw a cup.
She throws things.
Did I throw things or did you throw things?
No, I think I threw something.
I thought you threw a cup and like that she like you got really angry and went,
yeah, because we were all sitting at a table. Right. Like we had gotten to whatever inn we were at.
Yeah.
And we were in like the common like dining space, I think.
Right. And so then, and so you threw the table and you stormed off upstairs and climbed through the window and was sitting on the roof. And I was like, Prim is so sad that she just lost another person inexplicably, again, like with no warning, just left. Mm-hmm. And she has like a little tear, but she's 300 years old and knows that we have to, like, we have shit to do. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to go take that little one who just is feeling some type of way. I'm going to help her realize the purpose of what we're doing and that there are other people here that she also cares about and that cares about her. And then we're going to pick up and go on. And whenever Valen decides to march his ass back here, we can sort that out whenever that happens.
Yeah.
Anywho, that's Rose's role-playing reference guide. Where can they get one of these?
Where can one find one?
How can I procure one of these pieces of paper?
At the moment, pretty sure it is in our link tree that exists on our Instagram. However, we will link our link tree in this episode as well.
Yeah.
And you can get your copy of the Roses Roleplay and Reference Guide
For free.
For free. It's a link called The Greenhouse because we started calling our little home for all of our guides the Greenhouse.
Yes.
But yeah, so that's where you can find Rose's Roleplay and Reference Guide. And we would love to see y'all use it. We'd love for you to maybe not hashtag it because that's so long, but like long. Tag us. Yeah. And we would love to see what you do with the reference guide, and like give us feedback if you have something that could be like added to this and make it better. I mean, I think we're always open to like updating things if it makes sense for the guide.
Yeah.
All right. Shall we take a break and roll with it?
Let's roll with it. Do you have dice, or should I pull up D&D Beyond? It's already here. I can just do it. Don't do anything.
I'm not doing anything.
Don't do anything. We're rolling on icebreakers today.
Oh, good.
13. If you could bring back any fashion trend, what would it be?
I might need a second.
I don't want... Listen. I don't want the socio-political landscape of this time. Let me start with that, okay?
Sure.
And we get that out of the way.
All right, it's out.
Now, I'd like to be able to dress like Claire from Outlander without getting looks.
Sure.
So
wait, say that last part again.
Without getting looks.
Oh, yeah.
Like I want like a shirt. I want the chemise. Great. Underneath, I want the stays. I want a big full skirt with holes in it on either side for pockets. And the pockets aren't actually the skirt. There's a belt of pockets underneath, but I've got holes in my skirt for the pockets. And then I've got like a shawl, like a knitted shawl over for warmth. I want to be able to wear that without getting looks.
Yeah. And like another like bonus to this is like people wore clothes like that for hundreds, thousands of years.
Right.
And we're still able to like manage temperature. Cause I immediately go to like when it gets hot, I'm going to be hot. But most everything was made out of a natural fiber.
Right.
And so it was way easier to manage your temperature. Right. You didn't have a bunch of polyester that was making it worse.
Right.
And honestly, if I can do one thing in this lifetime, that's not true. I want to do more than just this.
Really,
but if I can get rid of the misinformation that corsets and stays were bad for women, then I will have done a good thing in this life, because it is simply not true. Yeah. And they're super supportive when they're tied right.
Yeah. I have stolen a corset from Emily.
I am.
Sorry. But I've worn it a couple of times under like a 50s type skirt. I have the best freaking posture when I'm wearing that. I sit so straight upright and I feel great. Now, afterwards, they're like, so today's clothes, the silhouettes that we try to pull off today, does not allow for the chemise like underneath thing.
Yeah.
And so like it's hard. I like have to like put on a tank top and then fold the tank top over so that it doesn't show in the top that I'm trying to wear. So like it's not the right kind of underclothes for the corset. So like I find some discomfort in the like way it sits with the clothes that I have to try to put on underneath it.
Sure.
But it's great.
Yeah.
And I look snatched.
So, which is fun.
You're like, why do all those ladies look so skinny? Well, one, there wasn't a lot of food to go around. And two, They got corsets on, man. They got corsets on and then big skirts, which make their waists look more small because of the like juxtaposition between the big skirts and then the stays underneath.
It is true. It is true.
And sometimes I don't want to wear pants.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I agree with that. The thing, oh wow, this just came to mind. I don't know that it was a trend as much as it was just part of we've been blessed.
It's George. Everyone.
We've been blessed. You've been chosen.
We'll see how long this lasts.
It's just an article of clothing that let's see. I'm gonna Google really quick. When did, and I could honestly probably do this for myself. But I honestly just might start wearing them more because I can. Bloomers. Now, give me a second. I to go with your point about like I don't always want to wear pants, like same. But I no one can like see me unless we're on the couch, which you haven't seen in a while, but everybody who's listening, I have thighs that like each other so much. And it just makes wearing skirts like obnoxious sometimes. So I typically wear some kind of shapewear under a skirt, which is fine and good. But bloomers, I think, would maybe make it way less obnoxious and I wouldn't have to wear something tight all the time. So I don't know. Today I'm going to answer bloomers.
Great. Yes, great. And like, here's the thing. Like, I know that in reality, I can wear whatever the hell I want. Right.
True. Me as well.
Like I have free will and I can put whatever clothes I want to put on. But like sometimes you have to ask the opportunity cost of wearing whatever you want to wear in juxtaposition for the social emotional work you're going to have to do to combat the like whatever looks you're going to get. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's too much, you know?
It's another way that you can spend spoons and it's not worth it.
Right. I put on my birthday list, my like gifts I want list, some clothes from Linen Nave.
How's it spelled?
Linene.
How's Nave spelled?
Naive.
Sure, yeah.
I believe it's a European-based brand, but they make that what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. The like kind of older. I don't want to say period clothes because it's not like a costume. It's their clothes.
But these are period inspired clothes though. Like these, there's some heavily Victorian inspired dresses and there's some Regency looking ones. They've got some really cool cloaks. Holy crap.
Yes. Give me cloaks.
Bring cloaks back. That's my answer. I'm going to take bloomers out. Give me a cloak.
We just want to be able to, the clothes we wore in our like little Chromatic Roses photo shoot. Yeah. I want to be able to just wear.
Wear all the time.
Without the like judgment of
just without question.
2025.
Like on one side, this episode's getting long.
You're right. Oh my God, you're right.
But on one hand, I want no one to ask me questions because I just want to wear something comfy. On the other hand, like I'll take compliments. Like I'll take someone
sure.
Oh, that's a sick outfit. And I'd be like, thank you. But like people being like, oh my God, like what are you doing? Where are you going? I'm just like, no, please just.
Yeah, of course I'll take positive feedback. I just don't want negative feedback. Or even neutral feedback. It's either positive or no feedback, please.
Be nice or leave me alone.
Or else. Yeah. That's it for us this week, turns out. Surprise. Thanks for spending time with us today. Thanks to Noah Trumbull for the use of our theme song. There's a link to his Instagram in the episode description. Be sure to give him a follow and stay up to date on his band and music. I saw he was competing in a battle of the bands.
Yep.
I have not seen the outcome of that.
I have not checked up on it, but I also saw that, so I'm very excited for him and the band.
Yeah, so you better go check it out or else.
If you're enjoying the show, there are a couple things we would love if you do. First, please leave us a review because reviews help other people find us and determine that we are a pretty cool podcast to listen to. Second, I'm missing it. Follow us. Follow us wherever you get your podcast. Lastly, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or here on Spotify if that's where you're listening, to see what we're up to and to keep up to date on when a new episode is going to drop.
Should you say follow us wherever you find your podcasts?
Yeah.
Okay. We also want to hear from you. Do you like this resource? Do you want us to change this resource? Do you think we should have a different resource? You should leave us a comment on the YouTubes, or you can send us an email. It's chromaroses@gmail.com. CHROMAROSES@gmail.com. It's all lowercase, and we cannot wait to hear from you. But George can. George can wait. And he's gonna be over there.
Anyway, this has been Chromatic Roses. I'm Soren.
And I'm Caitie. This time I went long. Be nice or else.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Bye.